Hi guys, welcome back to episode 13 of my Ymir tutorial series. So, in the last episode, we got the stuff to do with leadership completed. We got the territories claimed around our capital, and we could do that around our second city, but I'm in no rush that we're only in the single player. We also got privileges unlocked, and I talked about how you can use that the best way, in my opinion, to maximise your profit gains. We're also talking about how you need to try and focus your capital as it is your money producer throughout the game, but especially in the early game. And finally, we actually enabled the leadership policy itself so we can reap the benefits such as more state power and more administration in our capital. This episode, we're going to focus on getting copper, getting foundries up, smelting the copper into axes. And axes are the next set of tools you need. So how Ymir works is every era you go up, or Copper Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, all these ages you go up, there's one sole tool you use. So in the Stone Age, it's hammers. In the Copper Age, it's axes. Bronze Age, it's shovels. Iron Age, it's saws. And you make this one type of tool, and it's needed for the advanced buildings of that age. So to be able to build the Copper Age buildings, we will need to get copper and start smelting it into copper bars to make axes. One thing of note though is, even once you move into a new age, so you go into the Copper Age or copper to bronze, the previous set of tools still be useful. Like even in the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, you still need hammers for some buildings, and you still need axes for some buildings. So even if, for example, you get copper now, and then you move on to the Bronze Age and you can't make bronze, the copper will still be useful, not only to smelt bronze, but also to make axes and other things. Anyway, enough talking. I've found copper in my in the intermediate period between this and the last episode on this hill tile. This hill tile. It's a small batch of copper, and I'm going to settle a third city. So we're here on this arid tile, and this arid tile isn't good. It's got very, very little fertility. No, I said that's a lie. It's not as bad as I thought. It looked like it was all flint. It's got patches of level 2 fertility, and it's got large patches of level 2 and then small patches of level 3. So it's not actually terrible. It's quite good to defend because you can set up a hill base on one of these corners and shoot down if the enemy was attacking. And that's about it though. It's got limestone that'll be used later on, and it's probably got some sort of arid food type. But this is what we're interested in, the copper. So you can see the copper has this orangey blue, the orange sort of little nodes, and then like the bluey sort of stone colour. This is copper, and this is quite a large deposit in my opinion. Small deposits, I'd say medium-sized deposits, this one would be, but it's definitely not small, so this is a nice size. Even though this is quite a crap tile in itself, seeming it's the only copper I've seemed to found near me, it will be good to get a city up, even if it's just for the more copper rush in the early game, where you get the copper and you want to be the first to produce your axe. Which, remember, we're not in the bartering at the moment, so we do not have to pay money to get this copper and smelt it into axes. So this could be a short-term city that you have. You take all the copper you want, you smelt all your tools, you upgrade your capital, and then you upgrade this into a city such as an outpost, which you haven't unlocked yet, but it's a city that pays less state power, but there's other penalties. But we won't talk about that just yet. So I'm going to get a third city set up. That's going to cost us 25 state power. So we're going to go back into the negative, which means we're going to have worse loyalty. We need to get more armies. But with the copper here, it means we can progress. So let's get on with it. So in my capital currently, we're at 67 loyalty. So actually, we should be okay. We may not need a second army, because if we were to go down by 25 loyalty, we'll still be well above the 30 line. And Tossar here, again, well above it. So actually, we're doing okay for loyalty, even with a third city. So this is what I mean by, so you don't need to be in the positive state power in the early game in the gift economy, because the only penalty to going below state power, as far as I'm aware, and I'm pretty sure it is the only penalty, is the loyalty penalty in your cities. If you've got the armies to deal with that, or if your cities just are fine anyway, there's no real penalty to getting more cities. You just need to remember that once you switch to gift economy, not gift economy, bartering economy, in the future, you will need to deal with that. But then there'll also be new technologies that come out that will reduce the loss of state power. So, like I've said before, you want to produce your industries in your capital, because that's where you're going to be getting the tax from the wealth due to privileges. So what I'm thinking of doing is setting up the copper mining in this little territory here, but sending the copper back to Redwood, our capital, and smelting it and producing tools here. If you're lazy, or you're not planning on playing too often, setting up a trade route with the caravansaries is something you can do. Remember, it costs jobs, which if you're short on jobs, it may not be possible. But it will set up a trade route so we can actually transport the copper ore directly, and it's automatic. If you've got more time and you're going to be logging on frequently, again, this is assuming it's multiplayer, you can actually use your armies to transport the copper ore manually, or you can create a new army which just has the carrier units, so you can keep your main army on as a garrison, and that's better if you're near aggressive neighbours, or you just want to be safe. But as a single player, I'm going to set up a trade line because I want to show you guys how that works. So I'm in my capital, and the problem I've had is I'm starting to run out of hammers. So as is the single player, like I've said, there's no time constraint. It's all on me. So I just make my goods in bulk, use them up. It's like a cycle, huge surplus, and then crashing down to very little. In the multiplayer, you want to get that more stable, and you want to always have a good source of hammers. But as a single player, I went from 120 and I'm now about 6. So I'm just gonna unsleep some of these buildings and just get some hammers made. So this is something, if you are playing the multiplayer, keep on top of. Plan ahead for stocking goods such as hammers, hoes, javelins if you're thinking of making new militias or bigger armies. Plan ahead and stock, because in the multiplayer, if you suddenly realise, oh, I'm going to need more hammers, that could be a day or two of real time before you get the stock you want. Because obviously things are quite slow, you may not have the job to just pump in new workers to get tools. So keep on top of your stock. So also, while we're here, in one of the last episodes I got the tannery level 2, and I haven't actually upgraded these. So I'm going to upgrade these buildings now, and that will massively improve our production. But the problem was, we don't have the butchers to actually support this. So this is the thing, if you want to upgrade one point in the production chain to make sure the rest of the production chain can support it. So I'm gonna get our buffaloes down, and this one doesn't even have any, so we can get quite a few. You can see there I've got such a big stock of llamas just sitting around doing nothing, and all these jobs where they're not fully producing, and all these civ points. I want to make this really clear. If you're playing this for multiplayer, please invest your resources to improve your production lines to produce more goods. Don't just keep big stocks of resources sitting around doing nothing. Like here, you can see my leather production lines falling behind now that I've unlocked these level 2 tanneries, and I'm not even anywhere near producing enough for demand because I haven't been investing into the leather and the animal production chain. Even when I've had all the resources, the wood, the hammers, the animals to do so. So if you're playing multiplayer, you need to keep on top of this and constantly keep investing these resources. Okay, so I've invested the buffaloes into pastures, and now I've gone from 0.1 to 0.4 buffaloes per tick. So that is enough to get another butcher up. We don't have enough leather. So I'm going to come here and maintain stock. And that will up the leather. And yeah, like I said, I'm being very casual just in the single player, but I would, if this was the multiplayer game, I would have kept on top of that and made sure I wouldn't have gone down to 0 leather in the first place. Okay, so I've got the butchers up. I'm going to select buffalo, select critical, and now we're producing 0.7 and 0.7. So we're now producing... Are we producing a surplus? I think we're producing a surplus. Yeah, we are. No! No, we're not. We're still in the negative. So to get another butcher's down. There we go. So now we're producing a surplus of leather. And a surplus of meat as well. But once we start getting the level 2 butchers and all of that, you've got to remember the amount of animals they butcher is going to go up. So you want to also improve your animal production to meet that. Okay, so it's been a bit of time, and my settlers, the holy pigs, have got full action points, so they are ready to come settle over here. One thing I want to mention though is, because this is in a different biome, in the long run it can make having this as a proper city big pain, because we can't grow crops that grow in the city. All tropical crops are unique to the tropical jungle, to the tropical biome, sorry, which means we can't grow those crops in Yrville. That would be fine if civ points weren't a thing. Because civ points are a thing, it means we'd have to spend more civ points on arid crops. We'd lose efficiency, we'd lose civ point. Oh, it's a complete mess. So Yrville is good that it has the copper, but in the long run, it's probably a city, once the copper age is starting to die down, and you've unlocked markets and you can get copper from elsewhere, you're probably going to want to abandon it. But that's up to you and the game that's going on for you to decide. So, we've got the Metallurgy Tech here, and to actually unlock Metallurgy, we need 15 wood and 30 hammers, but the big thing is 40 miners. That's insane. Don't worry, miners doesn't just mean clay or stone miners, it also means flint collectors. So if you've got a lot of flint collectors in your hammer and hoe production, you can use them as a big part of the research. But the 40 miners is really harsh, because that can easily cripple your economy, because so many of your workers are trying to do the research. With several cities, it does ease that pain a bit, because we've got Redwood, we can assign 11. Tossar, we've got 6. So you can see that if you've got multiple cities, you can add the workers together, but it's still not good. But as we're in the gift economy, and the miners are only really used for flint collectors, it's not going to cripple our production chains, but it will mean you won't be able to produce hoes and hammers for a while, unless you've got a stock of flint. So I'm going to get some hammers up, well, enough hammers to do the research, and I'm going to be back once I've researched this tech. Again, single player makes this so much easier, because I can put 11 miners into this, hit it up to 40 times speed, and I'll have this done in 5 seconds. But in the multiplayer, that 40 miners is a big hit. So what I advise for that is building more flint collectors. They're free, remember, so get more of them down, set up more of them in multiple cities, put them to higher critical, hire some more people, as long as it's not affecting massively other production chains, do that, and then get the research done, because the more researchers you have, the faster you get the tech done, the quicker you can get into copper, and you'll be golden. But only rush this if you do have copper. There's no point rushing metallurgy and putting loads of miners into metallurgy if you don't have any copper to get it anyway. You might as well just put 5 miners in and let it take 3 or 4 days. So have a think. Look at your situation. Do you have copper? Yes, try and rush metallurgy. You don't have copper, but you maybe have neighbours who are willing to trade copper for you. Have a think about maybe how quick you want to get it. Nobody's trading with you. You don't have any copper. Maybe you just put 5 or 6 miners into it and let it take a few days. Okay, so I have got metallurgy. Thankfully, a lot more easily than it is to get in the multiplayer. But a few things I want to say very quickly. Metallurgy gives you, and it gives everybody, 4 gold. Gold is a precious metal and is one of the most valuable items in the game. This 4 gold can be worth a lot in the future. A lot. I've seen it sell for the most 10,000 coins per bar, which that can get you a lot. So just this 4 gold, if you keep hold of it, you can sell on in a time of need. Or if you want to, you can try and acquire more gold, so you actually have a large stock of the precious metal gold, which will boost your wealth in the long run. So this gold is important. One thing I've had, and it's been a pain in the ass, is your gold gets used up by industries which you don't want to use up. And the one I'm talking about is the adornment maker, or the jewellery maker, where you run out of shells, you run out of pearls, or whatever else you're using, and the stupid workers decide to use your gold up. So what I want you to do is, once you get this gold, make sure it's in a storage area, so it's not going to despawn and delete, and select it in the resource area, and set that to 80. That way, none of your gold is going to be used up by industries or anything like that. And once you get dedicated storage warehouses later on, you may want to set one that houses your specific valuables like silver, gold, your axes, any valuable resources you have that you want to keep safe so they don't delete. So with shiny stone down, we've unlocked level 2 houses, which you can see use mud, stone, wood and axes. So the mud you can easily get with the mud collectors, very simple. The wood, we're in a jungle, we're absolutely fine. The stone would be a bit of a problem for us because we've got only this tiny little deposit here. But I think in our other hill area we probably have a lot of stone, so we're good for all of them apart from the axes. However, with copper we can get them. What else does copper unlock? It unlocks a woodcutter level 2, simply just a more efficient woodcutter, we don't need to worry about that. It unlocks the mining camps that actually let us mine the ores. It unlocks the foundry. And I think that is it for building wise. No, it also unlocks the level 2 toolmaker, which halves the amount of workers you need to produce roughly the same amount of tools. So that's really good. We've also unlocked 2 new techs, pointy sticks, which unlock spears. Spears will allow you to make, I can't remember what they're called. They're not spear pigs, but they're pigs that use spears. Spear pigs are a different type of unit. They're an actual unit in the game later on, and these are quite rubbish units that are the next melee unit. So they have leather clothes and spears. They will obviously beat warriors in a battle, but I don't think they're justified by the cost of copper, especially how expensive and valuable copper is in this early copper rush. I wouldn't bother making spears, just get lots of javelins and good defences. But we can make them if we were to get the spears. We're not going to worry about that for now, because we need copper for that. We don't have copper. Food conservation, we unlocked. It says allows nothing at the moment, but it will go on to unlock, I think, the next level granary. So that's really useful. We'll get that. Builders. Builders are a nice easy one to get with just the 16 hammers, and they're critical for any late game building because they not only speed up your building, so in the multiplayer where you can't just set it times 40 speed, that's really useful to be able to get the buildings quicker, but it also allows you to build certain buildings that actually require builders. So the first example of that, and it comes with the tech, is the clay exploitation level 2. You can't upgrade your clay exploiters to the level 2 without builders, and you'll soon find that almost all the buildings in the game require builders, so they're very useful. But we don't need them just yet, and they cost an axe to place down, so we're not too worried about them just yet. What I am going to do is I'm going to set up 2 well, I actually don't have the hammers, and you can see I don't have the hammers. Oh, never mind. I thought it was because they were getting deleted. We have got some free storage posts, but I'm going to get 1 foundry set up, and I'm going to try and get some more set up. Okay, so we've got our 2 tool makers up. Now, there was 2 in that one little building, so now we've got 2, and we're making much more goods. 1.4 hammers. So you can see, yeah, it's a 40% increase in efficiency, which is really good. We've got the Metallurgist here. They will use wood, and they use a lot of wood. It's 3 wood for 1 copper ingot. But we've got plenty of wood. And if we really needed to, we could put more sieve points into wood or get more woodcutters down. Because you can see here, we have got 8 unemployed. And oh my goodness, we need some more soldiers. Don't need many, but we do need some. Into 31. Okay, phew. So, with the foundry up, I'm now going to get mining copper in our other city. And again, going back to the multiplayer point, I just want to show you guys how it all works. So in multiplayer, you can put more time into it, develop your industries much more. There's not really much point in me doing that in single player because I don't need to. In multiplayer, you need more than one foundry. You need many miners. You need big industry to try and maximize your production. In single player, I just need the one. But you guys get an idea of what you will face, what challenges you will face, and what you need to do in the multiplayer. And oh shit, I completely forgot about this this place, and all our people here have died. Or they're dying. Shite. This place is absolutely terrible as well. It's got no... In fact, actually, just come to my attention that this place is inhabitable because it's got no meat, no crops, and no water. We can build a well for the water, and the crops we can import over and grow, but the problem is we don't have any arid crops. So actually, this is a problem. We're gonna have to find somewhere new. Ah, shit. Ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. So, been scouting around for a while in the territories we've already scouted. And I found this one just below Tassar. It's a jungle, so it uses the same crops we've got. It's got a lovely river flowing. Well, I say lovely, it's quite muddy, but it's got a river flowing through it with some fish I can see. So that's already a good spot. The coast does take up quite a lot of the land, so we are losing space to grow crops, but it means we can get some docks down to improve our trade potential. And it's got copper, and you can see it's not as big as the other deposit we had, but it's still okay. One way I want you guys to judge deposit potential is how many cubes are there of 4. So 4 cubes together, because late game you'll get an annex or a little building add-on that allows you to place an extra mine on the 4 cubes. The problem is they can't be like next to each other. So if you had a 4 cube one here, I think it's a 2 or 3 distance before you can have another one. So if you've got a nice big square one, you can sort of space them out all evenly. Whereas this one, you could only get 2 mines on it. But still, it's good enough for me. So I'm going to get another city set up here. But what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to evacuate this city. So you click on territory menu. Let's renounce control and evacuate. And like I said here, it's a long process, but I'm going to evacuate it. And you can see that's going to actually take 16 minutes. And I think that is real time. Even if I speed it up to 40%, it doesn't speed up. So that's going to actually take me 16 minutes. But I'm going to have to wait that time. But yeah, it's this one down here, just below Tassar. So actually, I'm very happy with it because it links up Tassar nicely. And it's a good spot. Good spot indeed. So guys, I'll see you in 16 minutes.